Hey, how y'all doing? Claytrain here. Today, folks, we're here to discuss the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. I'm here to bring you my predictions. I think we have a very good slate, and I can't wait to dive into it. Um, I think this is probably the best wild card weekend we've had scheduled in probably 4 or 5 years. My Ravens are they got the bye, so this is gonna be a great weekend. Be able to watch football, figure out who we're playing, and it's gonna be great. So with that said, I think I'm gonna start with the first game. It's gonna be Pittsburgh and Buffalo. I think the obvious choice is gonna be Buffalo, but I don't like to make the obvious choice. I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh to win. To me, I feel like Pittsburgh is a team that isn't that good, but looking at the Bills this season, the Bills have played pretty poorly in games against mediocre to bad teams. Um, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills came out and lost. Gabe Davis is out tomorrow, leaving Stephon Diggs pretty much as their top receiver. I mean, they have Dalton Kincaid, and Dawson Knox, but the Steelers, it's gonna be tough. I mean, without T.J. Watt, I mean, this game is it's tough to win in Buffalo. There's no doubt, but I think I think the Steelers can do it. They have the coaching, and I think Mike Tomlin's going to outcoach Sean McDermott. The Steelers have two very good running backs, and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, and it's going to be a snow game. They can pound the ball down their throat, keep Josh Allen contained. Anything can happen. So I think my prediction is going to be the Steelers win a tight one, 20-19. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bills win, but I think the Steelers are built for this game. I think the Ravens will beat them in round two if they do get past Buffalo, but I do see them beating Buffalo. Buffalo struggled against Easton Stick. Buffalo struggled against New England. They lost to New England 2 weeks ago. They almost lost to New England. The Easton Stick game, they almost lost to Tyrod Taylor at home this year. That game, that was a little ridiculous. The Bills are a very good team, and if they come out and dominate tomorrow, then prove me wrong. I'll be very happy with it. I think Ravens Bills would be a great AFC title game, and I mean they're a very good team, but they're really inconsistent, and I think the weather's going to play a major factor, and it's going to help the Steelers out a lot. So I'm gonna rock with the Steelers. I think that's going to happen. 4 o'clock game tomorrow is going to be Houston and Cleveland. And that's a tough one for me. I grew up with Joe Flacco. I love Joe Flacco, but Houston's the road underdog. I think by 2.5 or 3.5. And not road underdog. They're the home underdog by 2.5, 3.5. I think Houston wins. I think it shocked me that Houston was the underdog. I mean, Cleveland's playing good football. Joe Flacco's playing some of the best football of his career, but going into Houston, D'Amico Ryans has built that team. He's built a different culture there. And I don't want to doubt January Joe, but I just think Houston's going to come out and play a good brand of football, and they're ready to advance. I think the game's going to come down to the offense and defensive line. If Larry Tunsil can hold Myles Garrett down, I think they have a very good shot at winning. That being said, Cleveland's defense is very good. Cleveland's offense is playing at a very high level. If they can contain David Njoku and then contain Myles Garrett when the Houston's on offense, I think that Houston has a really good shot. C.J. Stroud's played he's the rookie of the year. He's played at a top 5 quarterback level in his rookie year. Houston's defense has played very above average. I mean, they have a very young core that is looking to make a name for itself, and I think both teams are playing with nothing to lose. Houston didn't back into the division. They earned the division, but, it took Jacksonville to lose. Things had to happen, and Houston's still a rookie team, a young rookie team, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. They're playing with nothing to lose. And also Joe Flacco's playing with nothing to lose. Joe Flacco 6 weeks ago was taking his kids to school, and now he's playing in an NFL playoff game. So I think this game is going to be a pretty good defensive game, and I think the score is going to be higher than the defense has played. I think Houston's going to win 23-19. I think it's going to come down to the end. I think Flacco's going to have a drive at the end of the game and throw a pick, and Houston will finish it. But, if Cleveland wins, it also wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Cleveland is favored. I'm sorry, I'm not. I wasn't the best in high school. Um, like I said, I think we have 7 really good games this weekend, so I'm going to take Houston. The night game tomorrow, which is on Peacock, is Miami and Kansas City. I think this is my one clear cut favorite for the week. If I had to pick a lock this week, it's going to be Kansas City. I think at game time it's supposed to be around -3 degrees, and it's supposed to feel like -30. I don't think Miami's prepared to play in that cold, especially Tua. Tua showed on Sunday Night Football last week that he's not a big game quarterback, and he never has been. Mike McDaniel has a good system, but I don't think Tua is the guy for it. Kansas City is also a team in turmoil, and I think Kansas City is a team that whoever they play, whether it's Houston or Buffalo round 2, I think they're going to get their ass kicked at home, unless they have to go into Buffalo, obviously. Kansas City will win this game. Miami, if anybody knows how to stop Tyreek Hill, it's going to be Kansas City, as he was there for a long time. I think Miami kind of mails it in. I think Kansas City wins something like 31-10. I think the game's going to be over before it starts. I think Miami's just not going to show up. And that's not a discredit to Miami. I think Kansas City's ready for the moment. Miami isn't. Miami had, a different situation last year down. I think it was Skylar Thompson at quarterback against Buffalo, and they almost won. But they were also a team that was playing with nothing to lose last year. It was house money with 2 out and all that. This year they had expectations, and they were, smooth sailing to the 2 seed the whole way, and then blew the division the last, 4 weeks of the year. So they're also a team that's on the downfall, on their own downfall, and I think a lot of it has to play with Tua. They have a lot of great players. I mean, it's a different ballgame. If Jalen Waddle plays, Raheem Mostert plays, it could be a different ballgame, but I think Tua is going to come out and throw 3 picks. He's not that good. Yeah, I think Kansas City wins 31-10, and then they lose to either Houston or Buffalo next round. That game's on Peacock, by the way. I just want to mention that's brilliant marketing by the NFL. I know not everybody's a fan of Peacock. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I have Peacock, but I knew going into this week they were going to put Kansas City on Peacock because of Taylor Swift. This is just brilliant marketing by the NFL. More people, all the Taylor Swift fans are going to buy Peacock just to, just see Taylor Swift in the game and all that. And, it points out that the NFL has great people in charge that know what they're doing marketing-wise. So, yeah, just my little tidbit of that. So Sunday slate, we go into game 1, which is Dallas and Green Bay. I think this is another, classic case of Dallas could choke at home. Dallas is a better team than Green Bay by far. Dallas is also undefeated at home. Green Bay is a team that's playing with nothing to lose. Green Bay, made it into the playoffs. Jordan Love has proved to everybody that he is that guy, and Jordan Love has taken a giant step this year that not many people expected. I my personal self thought he would be at best a average quarterback, maybe a tiny bit above average. But Jordan Love has showed me something that I'm not saying he's better than Aaron Rodgers. Not a chance in hell he's not. But the way Jordan Love is operating that offense, you don't have to have a number on anybody's back. You don't have to have a nameplate on anybody's back. If you get open, Jordan Love's going to throw you the ball. We watched for a lot of years. Davante Adams was force-fed the ball by Aaron Rodgers, and it worked. Let's not get that twisted. Davante Adams was a top 3 receiver in football. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest ball throwers of all time. But now that Jordan Love is throwing to Romeo Doubs, Jalen Reed, Christian Watson, he's just throwing to random guys. It's working out for him. At the end of the day, they're not random guys, but he doesn't have that number 1. Really, he doesn't really have a number 2 either. It's a classic case of watching Lamar's first couple years. Lamar, besides Mark Andrews, Lamar was just throwing it to whoever and whenever. He force-fed the ball to Mark Andrews a lot because Mark Andrews is really good. But, Hollywood also saw the ball, and Hollywood's better than what Green Bay has, but he also was unreliable. So this game excites me. I think Dallas wins. I'm going to take Dallas. I think it's going to be a shootout, something around 28-25. But, if you're a betting man, I would take the spread for Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to really stay into this game. Like I was mentioning with Houston and Cleveland, Green Bay is playing with nothing to lose, and Cowboys are playing with everything to lose. Mike McCarthy's job's on the line. Dak Prescott already has a bad reputation in the playoffs. If he loses a home game round one, as a 2 seed against the 7 against Green Bay, a team that, I don't want to say backed themselves into the playoffs, but they earned it over the last couple weeks, but they weren't that strong this year. They won games when they needed to. Jordan Love stepped up when he needed to, but they were a team that had a lot of inconsistencies in their coaching and in their play. So I'm going to take Dallas. I'm going to say 28-25, something like that, but I could see Green Bay going in there and winning. I don't think it's as clear-cut as everybody making out to be that Dallas is this team that's going to go in there and win. All right, my favorite game of the week now, Rams and Lions. Matt Stafford going back into Detroit. Jared Goff going against the team he took to the Super Bowl, 5-6 years ago? What was that? That was 5 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 5 years ago. 2018, I believe. Yeah, it was 5 years ago. 2019, Tom Brady lost in the divisional. I want to take the Rams in this game, and I'm going to. That being said, I think a lot's going to depend on if Sam Laporta plays. Detroit has a very good offense. They're a very good coach team. They have a very young, healthy, good defense, too. I think the Rams are going to do a good job of containing Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're going to take him out of this game. And I think Matthew Stafford's going to come in there with a lot to prove. So is Jared Goff. I think this is going to be one of those games that's just going to be a bloodbath and could go either way. Someone has to be favored against the Lions, but Matt Stafford's been... he played in Detroit for a very long time. Jared Goff's been to the Super Bowl. He played for the Rams for a long time. Both have a lot to prove, and something tells me that the Rams' defense is going to show up. The Lions have not impressed me in prime time this year that much, except for week 1 against the Chiefs. When the Lions lost to Green Bay on Thanksgiving, I thought the Lions were going to come in and beat the hell out of them. And, it's a totally different case. It's been 7 weeks, 8 weeks since that. But I don't know. It's the first playoff game in Detroit in 30 years. The place is going to be rocking, but I think Matthew Stafford wants to go in there and win, and obviously Jared Goff wants to go and beat his former team. I think this is going to be a really good game. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to say 24-21, or 24-22, something like that. I think all these games are going to be really, really close, except for the Kansas City game. So I'm saying a lot of the same scores, not the same scores, but a lot of the tight areas. But these games are really good, and Kansas City, Miami has a chance to be really good. But I just can't envision Miami coming out and going out there and winning. And that weather and that degree of difficulty, I can't see it. Monday Night Football, final game of Wild Card Weekend. The Eagles play Tampa Bay. I'm going to be rooting heavily for Tampa Bay. I believe Tampa Bay is going to win, and I think this is going to be the last game you see Nick Sirianni coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles have a ton of talent. Let's not get that twisted. A.J. Brown's a top 5 receiver in football, in my opinion. They got a great offensive line: Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, the whole 9 yards, Lane Johnson. And they have a lot of big boys on defense. They have a lot of talent on defense. I think Darius Slay's not having his best year. Obviously, I think he's on the downward trend of his career. He's not having a bad year. James Bradbury's having a pretty shitty year. I think their defense just isn't playing as good as it did last year, and I think the obvious factor this year, especially over the last 6 weeks, is that Jalen Hurts isn't playing as good as he did last year. I don't think Jalen Hurts is as good as he was last year at all. I think he's far from that, and I don't think he's as bad as he's played the last 6 weeks. I think he's somewhere in the middle. That being said, I don't think they're going to figure it out within a week's time of what the hell's going wrong over the last 6 weeks. I think they're a broken team that's been figured out by San Francisco. San Francisco figured them out, and I think everybody's copied the same kind of plays against them and have known how to beat them. I don't think Nick Sirianni's, been able to adjust at all. I don't think he's good enough to make the adjustments that they need to be successful. They changed defensive coordinators midseason, and I don't think that's helped them at all. Looking at it, obviously it hasn't. Offensively, they haven't changed any coordinators, but they haven't looked great. you just don't go from being 10-1 to finishing like that. And if they go into Tampa and lose, and I have a chance, I have a feeling it might get ugly. If the Eagles don't show up, this game will be ugly. I know Carolina just held Tampa to 9 points, but we're talking about a home playoff game with Tampa. Baker Mayfield's playing for a major contract. I don't know about major, but multi-year deal. Jalen Hurts got his money, and he hasn't played the same since he got his money. I'm going to take Tampa Bay, and I'm going to say Tampa Bay wins 34-23. I think Tampa comes out and just torches the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I think it's going to be a decently close game in the first half, and Tampa pulls away at the end. So, yeah. So that's my wild card weekend predictions. I can't wait to see what happens. I think no matter what, I think we're in play for a very deep playoff run. For my Ravens at least, but I think all these playoff games we're gonna have, in every single round are gonna be great. I don't think there's a game that will be bad. And everybody says, "Oh, Steelers and Bills." I mean, I think the Bills are favored by 10.5. The Steelers win and come into Pittsburgh. If the Steelers win and come into Baltimore, that's gonna be a hell of a game. The Steelers beat the Ravens in Pittsburgh this year. In a game the Ravens should have very much so won. The Ravens beat themselves up that game. You watch the tape. I think our receivers had 11 or 12 drops for like 230 something yards, and there was just a lot of brain dead mistakes by John Harbaugh in that game as well. And then Week 18, you can't take anything from Week 18. Snoop Huntley played. The Ravens had a lot of their second and third stringers out there. But that's gonna be a hell of a game. I wouldn't write that off either. I think anytime the AFC North plays, it's a hell of a game. So that'll be my wild card weekend predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Welcome back to the channel. This will be my first video in a few years. I've kind of revamped the channel to get into sports media, and I can't wait to bring you guys more content. Please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.